Welcome back to another episode of Lost in the Farmer's Market Garden Shorts. Now this is part 2 of a 4-part series. I know, we're already doing multi-part series. Well, what we're covering is lemon-flavored herbs. The last part involved lemon balm, and this time we're talking about lemon verbena. Now, lemon verbena, aka lemon bee brush, is known by its scientific name currently as Aloysia citrodora. Aloysia is an allusion to a set of Spanish phrase, and citrodora obviously indicates that it has a citrusy scent or flavor. You're going to see that a lot in botanical Latin, and in fact, this plant's name has changed a couple times. At one point it was known as Verbena citriodora, and for the longest time, and in all of my herb books, it's been known as Aloysia triphylla. Triphylla has to do with the fact that, and if you look very carefully, every segment where there are leaves, 3 leaves emerge from the stem, which is interesting. The biological reason for this, I don't know, but this specimen plant on the very branch that's closest to you, that you see waving in the wind so majestically, seems to have not precisely gotten the memo, as it has 4 coming out of a segment and 5 coming out in the middle there, and you know what? If my plant wants to mutate, I don't care, as long as it tastes and smells fabulous. Now, it is good in USDA zones 8 through 11. It's a perennial in 9 through 11. It's originally from South America. I couldn't pin down exactly where its endemic range was, but I do have to warn you that in zone 8, it is a tender perennial. It does not tolerate frost. It prefers a pH range of 6.1 to 7.0, so it's more on the alkaline side of things. It likes a well-drained but fertile soil and benefits from regular fertilizer, full sun, but it can handle semi-shade. Now, where I have it now isn't actually where it was growing. It was growing in the hot sun. I wanted to get it big before I moved it. As you can see, it's in a pot, and this is an overwintered specimen, so it's actually 2 years old and it was grown from cuttings in the first place. Now, here's the interesting historical part. It was brought to Europe by the Spanish and the Portuguese in the 17th century. Now, there's a whole story behind that and who got to classify it first. I'm going to skip that because that's a lot of info. Unlike a lot of herbs, its medical uses are unverified. It is claimed to stop muscle spasms, it's a fever reducer, a sedative, it handles indigestion, and it can improve appetite. However, if you go online and start looking at its medical uses, it pretty much does everything but cure erectile dysfunction, so I would be very cautious about using it to treat anything. Now, in my own use, I like to harvest the leaves for extraction purposes, in vodka, or in another spirit that has a low amount of flavor. And what it produces is the most glorious flavored beverage imaginable, and then you put that in iced tea or something. Or you use it to flavor in baking because it'll impart the lemony scent and flavor without imparting the alcohol. So, theoretically, you can make one heck of a lemony vodka sauce with that. As you can see, it's a stately plant that can grow pretty quickly. It doesn't really much tolerate being completely dry for long, but it'll hold out for a while before and recover fully if you water it, on a regular basis. It will outgrow its pot rapidly in the summer. The cuttings, since it is actually in the Verbena family, are easy enough. You can take a 4-inch stem cutting off, dip it in some rooting hormone, keep it in a humid place in moist soil, and it should root in somewhere between 3 to 6 weeks. Rough average. It's the same as if you took cuttings from its cousin, Lantana chimera, or common lantana, also in the Verbena family. The great thing about this particular plant, though, is that it's going to produce copious amounts of amazingly scented leaves. You can let it go to bloom and it will attract the pollinators like gangbusters. But usually the summers are too short for that, unless you overwinter a specimen. This specimen might just bloom this year. Now here's the bias warning. Lemon verbena is my favorite lemon-scented herb. Absolute favorite. The close second isn't lemon balm, unfortunately. The close second is lemon thyme, which will be the next portion of this conversation. And then lemon balm is tied with the fourth part of this, lemongrass. Now I gotta warn you, when we do this lemon series, the lemon thyme is not going to be a spectacular specimen, but we're going to talk about it anyway. The lemongrass is probably going to steal the show with its massive deliciousness. I think that's all for today. If you have any questions about lemon verbena, put them in the comments. Hit up the blog, like and subscribe. If you have a request for plants, go ahead and kick them thoughts to me. As always, folks, keep them growing.